This is a 2005 Gary Fisher Marlin XC bike. It's super kind of light. It's got a lot of cool attributes, and I think I'm gonna make it into a sweet gravel bike. Let's get it. So this bike is my dad's original mountain bike. He rode this hardtail. He bought it brand new, and he rode this hardtail for a long time. And it's definitely a little dated, but it's super cool. And I don't think it's dated. I think it's pretty classic, but I don't really have a use for a bike exactly like this. But I do have use for a gravel-esque, simple bike with a lot of gears that I could commute on. I'm gonna really try to ride my bike more this next year. And while I love my bike from Europe and that other fixed gear, or not fixed gear, that other single speed, they aren't really something that I could ride reliably. The road bike has a lot of significance to me. I wouldn't want to beat on it every single day. And that other bike is just, that's not an endurance. But I already know I'm going to do is throw a rigid fork on there. Now I have to figure out what fork. I'm gonna get some gravel tires. These are really good Michelins. These are like mud countries or something. I put these on a few years ago. My dad really hasn't ridden much. Like, it still has hairs. Like, these are great tires. I'm going to keep this 26-inch. I didn't originally think I was wanting to do that, but yeah. I'm gonna keep this thing at 26-inch and run like a 26 by 2 or 2.2. Basically, you're gonna just come along this video of me doing the first phase of modding this bike into being an epic, nostalgic ripper that's also pimp. Let's get into what we're working on, and we gotta do a little bass testing, so let's get into it. See, I have cleats. These are my dad's cleats that he rode on those. I'm not a big cleats guy, so I have a remedy to that. Yeah. I am just too excited to not ride this. So I threw the plastic pedals that are currently on that single speed mountain bike, threw those on there. And I'm in the process of putting together some new platform pedals, but we're gonna basically do a baseline test on this. So I'm gonna kind of feel out how it feels on the road, how easily it pedals, everything. It's not a speed test, but I'm gonna ride it on some pavement, maybe hit some gravel, and really try to get a baseline for how this bike rides now. So, I don't know. Can't wait. Let's just get to it. See, this is really what I want to be able to retain. Oh. Keep the bike clean. It rained yesterday, but yeah, I really wanted to retain being able to ride roads like this. So let's go. My initial impressions are very good. I used to ride this bike a lot. And I used to ride down here. This is a classic Sandbags location. So aggressive. That was sexy, majestic. Between the stem and the current stack, the front end is pretty squirrely, but the bike ride's nice. It's very light. This gear set is pretty good. Potentially might put a bigger front or big ring on it, but I don't know. I'm gonna keep this ride going, do a little bit of road riding, then back onto the gravel, and you know, get some more clips. Okay, let's do a little post-ride review. It's not really an initial impression. I've ridden this bike a lot, but my re-initialized impressions, this thing's gonna work for what I'm looking for. The geometry is going to kind of change a lot when I put a different fork on it. So I'm really not judging too many of the characteristics based on how this rides right now. Some things I did notice in the current configuration, the bars. The reach with the stem bar combo that is currently on there feels a little weird, but I think I'm going to leave that be for now until I have the fork on it. Then I'll try it again and see what's going on. The horns. I left them on for the initial ride just because I really wanted to leave this about as is as possible, but they're gonna go. I have some lock-on grips that I'm about to throw on, and I just felt like the horns kind of squished my hands into the like this position. I couldn't really, I don't know. Tires, I'm gonna hold on to these tires. I think they would really be great for either winter trail-ish riding, or if I were to race a cyclocross or gravel race on this bike that was a little bit muddier. These tires are going to be great, and I'm definitely going to hold on to them. They're brand new. So, yeah, definitely no complaints about that. Other than that, the bike feels great. It's super light, and it's only going to get lighter. And I'm going to keep working on it in this video. I'm really excited to see how this develops. So, got my Lego Batman coffee. So, creative juices are in fact flowing. But let me show you something. Okay, these are my Crank Brothers Stamp 2s. They used to be red. Now they are not red. This looks good from like here. But I kept them bare and then just did black on the top. It's gonna chip. I know it's gonna chip, but we'll cross that road when we get there. Maybe I'll invest in a sandblaster and just completely sandblast these down to aluminum. But for now, they look good. So I've got the other one paint drying. I gotta clear it still, but pretty hyped on it. It's another day, and we've acquired tires. Let's install them. So, these are the Schwalbe CX comps. I'm gonna dive deep a little bit, not too deep, but I'm gonna dive into this. So I decided on these tires for various reasons. First of all, they are a nice gravel-esque tire with a little bit of aggressiveness, but also quick rolling feel. It's going to be much quicker rolling than the mud tires that I have on this bike currently. Second, price. I found them originally, they're marked at $23 US a tire for the 26x2s on the Schwalbe website. All said and done, they probably cost me about $32 because of shipping, tax, whatever. So I'll just say these are like $30 a piece. I'll put the actual calculation. We acquired a fork. So I was gonna film this, but I was in a rush. So and honestly, I'm just gonna put it back together. But yeah, we got a Surly Troll. This thing is brand new. Still even has the sticker on it. And yeah. So we're gonna put this on my Trek Marlin, bro. And this thing, I think it's gonna look pretty sweet. So I'm gonna do this. All right, so my trail bike has this SDG Falcon. It's a great saddle. Look at that. It's a great saddle. But to be honest, it's very nice, which is a good thing. But I don't ride this trail bike all that much on super long distance. It's more of a short distance bike that I ride on jumps and things like that. And I'm gonna use a saddle for this bike. So this is a Bone Traeger saddle. I'm assuming it's an original saddle off the bike. I have nothing against it, but it's a little narrow, and it just, from short rides I've done, it's not gonna cut it. So I'm gonna put the Falcon on here. I've acquired the final parts for this build. We've got a BMX stem from Rant, which is I don't know if it's like a sub company of like Shadow, Sabrosa, that kind of thing. Cheap, part of the affordableness of this build. But like what's going in this stem? We've acquired some Titec bars, which is perfect for this build because it has some Bone Traeger parts from the factory. So I think this will fit the vibe very nice. And then to kind of finish these off, got some grips from the Shadow Conspiracy. These are cool. They're like the Maya grips, which they're really sweet. A little bit long though, so I might trim these inner flanges because the grips are, I think, 160 millimeters and the bars are only 555. So do the math. There's more rubber on the bar than anything else. So we'll see, play by ear. But I just want to test look at these bars and the stem and stuff. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll show you putting them on the bike. So these grips are a bit long, so I just trimmed them down. It's about to storm, but look at this thing. So right now is probably the worst time to film in the woods, but don't. This is the finalized build for right now, and I wanted to wrap this video by kind of doing an overview, some initial thoughts, and then kind of pricing it out for you, because the whole premise of this is that it was affordable. The tires that I decided to put on this bike are Schwalbe CX comps. These check a lot of boxes for me. So they are a kind of a hybrid design, I would have to say, where it's pretty slick road going tire, but it has a nice knobby shoulder on it, so I could ride gravel, I could ride trails, I could even ride foam like this, and it's really, my grip level can be kind of adjusted more with tire pressure, and they won't be super slick. I really like the way that these tires feel. They're 26 by 2s, and they are a little bit narrow, but this is a small bike, and I think it kind of complements the way that I put this together pretty well. So these tires, the unit price on them on the Schwalbe website is $23 a piece, which is what originally drew me to this. And in the end, they ended up costing a bit more. The total price for the tires was $75. So it's something to be aware of. I had to pay shipping and tax on it. I mean, there's some gravel tires that are, a lot of gravel tires that are $75 for a single one. So I really don't have any complaints, and so far they've been very nice. Yeah, no complaints. We'll move up to the fork. This is a surly troll, and you'll notice it's white. Kind of bizarre. They're hard to acquire right now. The surly troll seems to be pretty limited. So I ended up finding this one brand new on Facebook Marketplace, and it is white, but I don't mind it. It makes it unique again, I was going to say. Like, as much as I was looking for a black fork, really no complaints. I like this fork quite a bit. It's around 3 pounds, and it's really light compared to the suspension fork that was on here. And has tons of accessory mounts for bike packing or a rack, fenders, anything like that, as well as it has disc mounts. So that really leaves a lot of options open, and to be honest, even if it wasn't always ran on this bike, I could run this fork on a multitude of bikes and it would be just spectacular. So that cost me $132, which is about what they would be brand new. So I didn't really save any money buying it on Marketplace, but kind of a supply and demand thing. I was okay with paying a little bit more just because it's brand new and the fact that I couldn't find any others. So yeah, this is the surly troll fork. We'll go to the stem. So this is a BMX stem, and kind of as I talk about the bars up in the stem, I'll probably kind of combine the two. So this stem was $30. It's from Rant, which is a sub company of like Shadow, Subrosa, that kind of thing. The reason I got the stem was because the Bone Tracker stem that was on here, I don't know, it just wasn't really tickling my fancy, and I also didn't, for some reason, put two and two together that the bars that I bought came with a shim. So it was kind of an oversight, and that was $30 I really didn't need to spend. But so far, I'm really not complaining. I have to say though, the irony of running titanium bars hooked to a BMX stem, this thing is just a big chunk of metal. Like, it's heavy. I really didn't gain anything from running a titanium bar, and if anything, this is a heavier setup than the original bar and stem combo. So, like I said, I don't regret it, but I'm not sure if this stem will be on this build forever. These are Titec bars. They're 555 millimeters, and I got them used on Marketplace, all said and done, for $47. Moving on to the grips. These are some Shadow, I think they're Maya grips. They were 12 bucks, I'm pretty sure. When I got them, they were a little bit long for such a narrow bar, and I originally was thinking that I would leave it. You have more hand positions, like on a, I don't know. I ended up cutting a decent chunk off of both of them, just so that I could have my levers and everything in a reasonable location that wasn't too choked up on the stem. Moving on to the seat, this didn't cost me anything, but this was a seat on my trail bike that I've had since I had a Spitfire, which was a long time ago. It's an STG Falcon. I'm going to spend more time in the saddle on this bike than on my trail bike. So you guys saw me do the shimmy of this stuff, but I'm not really going to assign a value to this because I already had it. Pedals are a similar situation. I had paint, I had the pedals, I rebuilt them, re-greased them, and I don't know, I'm not going to assign any value to that either. I mean, they're Stamp Brother Crank 2s, so if you're interested in a pedal like that, to kind of determine a final cost, you really could go in a lot of directions with this. Realistically, if I wanted to make this a totally accurate number for anybody to do this from scratch without a bike, it probably would cost $500, which is still quite affordable, but I don't know if at that price point would be worth it. It cost me around $345. I added a little bit of a miscellaneous expense thing to it, because there were some small expenses that I really wouldn't specifically only put to this: chain loop, star knot, stuff like that, just expenses that you would have to incur and that I've spent at some point. So I guess kind of going off of that, I'm very stoked on this build. The fact that it has so much nostalgia. If you go really deep into my videos, I rode this bike in my original biking videos. So to be able to bring it back and be just as stoked on it is worth every penny, in my opinion. And I do recommend that you build a bike. I've never really been, not to say this is super in depth, but I've never really gotten this far even in a build where I'm speccing stuff. I have to determine suspension correction. So it's, I think it's a very, very rewarding thing. This whole video, this whole project did take me over a month, but I really did enjoy the process, and I'm certainly going to keep working on things like this. This is definitely going to be a living and breathing project as I ride it more and find more requirements or things that I need to get out of it. But overall, I'm very stoked, and yeah. So if you made it to this point in the video, I really appreciate you, and I don't know, I'm stoked on it, and hopefully you are too. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have any final riding footage for you, which I'm sure would be a little frustrating, but I want to make a whole video dedicated to the first recorded ride. I've ridden about 15 miles on it so far, and I'm ecstatic, but I haven't ridden it on gravel. I haven't really tested it out in its intended use, and so I figure I'll really go and I'll make a nice video for that. That's that you could just watch it even if you didn't watch it. This is my 2005 Gary Fisher Marlin, and I hope you think it's a cool build. I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave in the comments if you are interested in this kind of thing, or if you have built some more alternative or all-terrain or gravelly a bike like this before, and what do you use it for? Infinite uses. So yeah, thanks for watching.